Well, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to another Crypto Maniacs podcast. It's been a while since we've seen you all, and that is my fault, my new career, my getting stuck on the side of the highways multiple times over the past couple of weeks. It's been an experience, but we're back. No thanks to me. Task, how you doing, man? Did you miss me the past week and a bit, or no? No?
Absolutely,
Yeah. Okay.
absolutely.
We're having a little trouble on Vim here. I can't seem to load Vim up, so we're stuck on Web 2. If you guys are watching, or if you're on Threads, the Threadcast from last week is where we're taking the questions that Task did on Thursday. I threaded it out probably about 15-20 minutes ago. Said,
I just
you know,
resent it also.
so there you go. So if you guys want to interact with the show, let us know there. We'll be looking in to everyone's questions from last week, and if anything new pops up as well, we'll do that too. So yeah, man, it's weird. It's weird missing an episode. I feel dirty,
You
like,
should.
right,
Yeah,
like,
it's. I understand. When you are one who takes on responsibility and takes it seriously. When you fail at that responsibility, it's like a kick to the gut, and you carry that with you.
yes,
I mean, it's like, I mean, that's I feel the same way. I mean, if I couldn't do this show for whatever reason, legitimate or not, it's like we broke a commitment.
yeah. I feel dirty, man. It's I hope it's not a recurring thing. Hi, John. Thank you, sir. Good to see you too. I'm pretty happy with how we've kept the track record over the past couple of
Mhm.
years. I hate excuses, man. That's something I've always been like just I just don't like excuses. Um, so when I make excuses, I feel dirty, if
Yeah,
that makes any
and
sense.
I mean, it's I'm proud of our track record. I filled in what 2 of the last 4 weeks, I think, on CTT for Starkers,
Hmm.
and he was very consistent for a long time, and then he had the situation in Berlin, so I had to step in for him on that, and I stepped in this Saturday, so it's you know, but the show just keeps going on, and that's the important thing, and so. Unfortunately, if you're gone, then I can't run the show because I don't have any of the accounts, and you handle all the technical stuff. But anyway, that's how
Oh,
it goes.
well, I'm I'm technical. I'm streaming this off of my cell phone,
That's
so
good.
we'll. Yeah, I don't even have Wi-Fi here, so we'll hopefully it's okay. But hopefully you guys are hearing us okay, and the recording's going through. Anyways, yeah, like I mentioned, we missed last Thursday. Not we, I missed last Thursdays. I'm taking responsibility. But you guys showed up with some questions, so if that's okay with all of you awesome people, we would just dive into the questions
Mhm.
from last week. So, sound good?
Yeah.
Here we go. Excuse me. There you go. Rocking, having fun, and as soon as Vim gets back online, I'll try to load it up. But it is having some issues. So there you go. So here's the threadcast for tonight's, actually Tuesday's broadcast. We'll go live at 8, which we did. So Bradley Arrow wants to know: is John G. Olson in a parking lot again tonight? Kind of, sorta. I'm in the parking lot for my company's trucks. I had to get some work done on the truck, so I've been in the yard all day. So I'm here. I'm here in the yard. So it's not a parking lot. It's more of a yard. Is that how the professionals call it? I don't know. Would you call it a yard or a parking lot? Task? What would you?
I mean, it sounds like the yard. I mean, you're at the that's the yard next to the shop where, they
Yep.
fix the trucks. Yard seems to make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, I'm in a yard tonight, Bradley. A couple of people saying they'd love to be a part of it, and it's great to be a part of. And if they're listening, that would be awesome. What is the topic? Is it all crypto? Sad Cry wants to know.
We
It's
go
what
all
you
over the
want to
place.
talk.
We're talking
We're going to talk.
truck stops now. I mean, we've talked truck stops,
Yeah.
and hookers and yards, and I mean, it's whatever comes up. I mean, if you ask us about it, if you go too far away from crypto, there's a good chance John or I may not know what the hell you're talking about. So don't come to us
Right.
for medical advice, as an example.
Yes, the theory of relativity and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, if you want some
not the most for it.
Einstein physics, maybe there's other podcasts to check out.
I'm sure there's very, very entertaining podcasts for that topic, but no, this is not it. Yeah. Anyways, so John Timms is up, and he came through with a lot of questions. So for all the incoming community threads features, which community created threads appear on the main Leo threads feed too? Will community created threads appear on the main Leo threads feed too? I think they're going to do a lot more filtering, right?
Well,
is that the plan?
Everything's going to show up on the main page. So yes, all community. If you enter a thread in the community, it's on the main page. Yeah, eventually there should be more filtering where you being the individual can filter your page that you see. But if you're looking at the catch-all Leo threads page, that main page will catch all that's posted, regardless if it's direct or through a community.
Right. There you go. And there's an AMA that happened today, which I'm looking forward to listening to tomorrow when I'm on the road. I could have attended the live one today, but I figured the podcast that they upload, I really enjoyed last week's. So
last week's was good. Today, Cal had advertises 2 major announcements, and I thought they were kind of. I mean, they're not bad, but it's like, no.
What were they? Let's talk. What were they?
One is they are going to submit a proposal. They got like a 15,000 word proposal that they're going to submit to the DHF for funding for marketing purposes for Leo. And Cal has said they'll put certain metrics, and if they're not hit, he will personally pay back the money to the DAO. Wow. And the second thing is, what the hell was the second one? An announcement that they're going to start promoting the Witness server to try to get that to be top 20.
So this seems very Hive centric. Is this kind of more cementing his like love of the blockchain, would you say?
Well, I mean, it's affirming it, but I don't know. He mentioned during the AMA that some people think Leo's just going to leave, which is just stupid because, I mean, especially now with threads, you couldn't do threads on another blockchain out there. I mean, can you imagine John threading on Ethereum? $20 a pop. Hell, could you imagine threading on Polygon at a penny a pop?
I like
it's Leo's going to bring out they're going to build the full node, because right now they're using 3 nodes simultaneously, 3 API nodes, master nodes, because quite frankly they generate so much traffic even with what we're doing now. A single node would block. They just say you're using up all our space. So they're going to come out with they got a Witness server. They're going to come out with a master node, and they're also going to set up their own image server. So they're basically putting together a lot of infrastructure for Hive. I don't know the level of, the Witness server. Cal's right. He did mention he's never really promoted it, and they haven't, and it's like once in a while they'll just make mention of it. But I guess they're going to do more to promote it, to try to get, up to the top 20, to have more of a say. So, personally, I'd roll out a master node, I'd roll out the image server, I'd get some of that stuff going. And then I'd sit there and say to everybody, I mean, if you think we're leaving, you're assholes, because look at the infrastructure we're running. And are you doing that? And unless you're block trades, the answer is probably no.
Yeah. There you go. A couple questions that have come through. Yes, that you are on the right threadcast, Bradley Arrow. So do not worry. Everyone is on the right threadcast. Now, of course, I got to make sure I'm on the right thread as well. I'm messing all this up. Anyways, let's see here. We've got more John Timms. He said, any word on how soon the ad revenue report will arrive? And that's also a question for Bradley Arrow. Do we know when Leo ad revenue rewards will be here? So
nope.
No.
When Cal said there was a huge announcement, I was hoping that was it, and it wasn't.
Right.
I don't know what the time frame is on that.
So yeah, that seems to be like the. Would you say it's probably the most important thing to happen to Threads? Like it will be, and the longer this goes, the more in the Sooniverse it becomes like, oh my gosh, where is this thing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there certainly is that viewpoint that could be the case. Obviously you want the numbers to be decent too. And looking at the activity on Threads, quite frankly, it's rather pathetic. So, what do you do? Do you introduce this? And bear in mind, I have no idea what the numbers look like other than just the data that I can compile through simple analytics and looking at the Leo Threads account and, stuff like that, and just watching, the pace of things. But, even, I've written articles, I've said stuff, and, it's like anytime you go to the main Threads page and scan it, look at how many threads have 0 clicks on.
Yeah.
People aren't even clicking on the damn thread. And it's one of the easiest things in the world, especially if you're on desktop, and you'll see a thread has 7 replies and 0 clicks. Everybody's replying off the main page. And it's like, I don't know what it's going to take to get through people's heads that, fuck 14, 15,000 clicks a day. We need 50, 100,000 clicks a day. And that means you have to bounce around, and people don't do it. And it's just that plain and simple. And when you go on any part of the day and you can see who's online by who's active, and it's like, you may be an active threader, but I know you're not clicking on shit. And, it's reflected in the click count. So, I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Knowing Cal, it's just, he hasn't gotten around to it. I mean, evidently this proposal that they're going to submit to the DHF, Nomad Soul says they're up to 15,000 words. So, they're writing a book there. So I can only imagine how long that took to put together. But, I think you could get a growing sense of frustration, but, at the same time, it's like, what are you doing? And I'm saying that to the community. What are you doing? It'll come out at a certain point. I don't know when. It's, I figured the ad would have, the article would have been out at least, but it's not. So, people get frustrated, but it's at the same time, everybody wants all this shit to come to them, but nobody is doing anything.
Right.
Where are these motherfuckers putting 100 threads a day? Where are these motherfuckers clicking 500 threads a day? Where are people building databases? Where are people using communities? I mean, it's all there. And yet, people are just saying when ads. Well, when are you going to fucking do something? If I was Cal, that's what I'd say. When are you going to fucking do something?
Yeah. What do you think this is? Do you think this is as a whole, or do you think it's more of the when moon kind of attitude, like, oh, we'll get active when the price of Hive and Leo goes up type thing?
Uh, what do you mean in terms of?
Like people will get active again, like when there's
Well,
a
I
price
think that
jump
I
coming.
think, John, we've been through enough bear and bull cycles that you and I both know that that does happen. I mean, as
Yeah.
you know, the next bull market, we're going to see the activity increase, and we'll see those same dopey posts. Hey, I'm back.
Yeah.
It's like, do you think you're that fucking important? I mean,
Oh, oh, I'm back. My life was crazy. You guys don't know what I've been doing for the past couple of years, but I'm back now.
yeah,
Like,
we don't care.
yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, you know how it goes. So I don't know if that's I mean, I'm sure Leo will experience the same thing, but we know that's the trend that happens, and
right.
a lot of this is dictated by price. But I mean, again, it's just short sightedness. I don't have to explain to you, John, because you've run businesses, you understand businesses. The main problem we have with Hive is we don't have enough people with any business sense.
Hmm.
And that's, I mean, I'm sorry to be blunt, but that's the problem. People don't think like business.
Right.
Cowboy and I have talked a number of times. You and Cowboy have talked a number of times. Just a simple process like brands. And Cowboy and I haven't had an extensive conversation, but we've just had a couple comments and threads going back and forth about branding. And it's like, who thinks like that? Business people. Who doesn't think like that? Most people on Hive. So it's just, it all keeps coming back to the same thing. When you talk about community, the community really is not there. I mean,
Right.
we like to brag about it, but the end of the day, the community is a few dozen people. That's really who the community is.
Yeah.
Those
But
are the
this is this is it's funny you mentioned this, and you mentioned kind of my history, and it's one of the lessons, and John is in the chat here, and he'll laugh because he'll be like, oh my gosh, John, you're beating a dead horse here. But this is something I taught for years and years in our training at CTP, and I- I'll 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 challenge what you said here first, to put this into kind of like this experience I've had with businesses online. I've always taught that you can't worry about the 99% of the people that don't do a damn thing, but you find the 1% and you embrace them.
Mhm.
And maybe that's what Leo needs. And I'm not saying, maybe not even Leo, Hive as a whole, just any project community on this blockchain. We are so in, we want these numbers, like you said, 100,000. Like, yes, we want that, and it's a drop in the bucket when it comes to social media as a whole. But instead, maybe what we do is we worry about the 1% that is active. We embrace them, we encourage them, we support them. The 99%, if they come, if they go, it doesn't matter, because we do have a real community there. It's like you said, it's a dozen, so obviously we're gonna have to get a few more than that. But the point is like, we could be we could be losing our mind over the next couple of years trying to get 100,000 people active on Leo.
Well, yeah, and you're right. But the problem is if you want ad revenue, if you want these things built, if you want votes, if you want, I mean, we've been focusing on the 1%, and
Mhm.
that's where it becomes a circle jerk. That's
Right.
where the 1% we all keep talking to ourselves. And you and I both know, because we've talked about it for 2+ years, that by going out and just marketing Hive isn't going to do it.
Right.
There's a big proposal that's funded for an insane amount of money, and it's done nothing. Um, so, I mean, it's you're going to have to start reaching outside at some point. But until you do that, and until you pull people in from the outside, it has to be carried by the people on the inside.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the people on the inside, there's people on threads all day who keep asking for shit.
Right.
Well, what the fuck are you doing? How many
Right.
clicks have you done today? How many businesses have you built on Hive? How much stuff have you gotten involved in on Hive? And I'm just throwing this out in general terms. And the answer for most people is shit. It's nothing. It's they're hanging out on Discord. I'm a member of Leo. I'm sitting in Leo's Discord all day, or I'm on Twitter talking about Leo. You know, it's well, why don't you just go to Twitter and talk about Bitcoin all day? In fact, they do. I mean, it's you know, that's really where it comes down to. It's if you want to do your own lifting, I mean, you got to do your own lifting before anybody else is going to.
Right.
And you know, people say, "Well, Threads is dead." Well, fuck, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Throw up 30 threads and shut the fuck up.
Dude, that's before we started doing this show, I remember we had you as a guest on a Monday night show we did for CTP years ago, and that's something you said, and it stuck with me forever. And I think that's part of your pillar content, man. But you've mentioned it a few times, but you haven't hammered home the point lately. The make 500 comments and come and talk to me then. That piece of advice, just translate it from comments into threads now.
Yeah, same fucking thing. Go make 1,000 threads over next week.
Yeah.
And
then see how your results are.
Yeah, then you won't be bored. You won't find it boring. You'll be filling it up, and people will actually be talking to you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's people want it's the proverbial everybody sitting back waiting for everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's like, go do something. And if you don't do something, then shut the fuck up, because you're a freeloader. And that's really what you are. You're a freeloader. You're freeloading on my shoulders. I got to carry your ass. And that's what it comes down to, is those people are active are carrying those people are not active. And they're going to be the ones bitching the loudest when the ad revenue comes in and says, "Is this all there is?" Or when they're not getting ad revenues because they wrote content, because I'm not going back to an article I wrote 3 years ago and refreshing it. Why would I do that? And then all of a sudden, somebody has an article that, hits some particular keyword and gets, 5,000 clicks and 5,000 page views off of Google or something. And they clean up that month, and they're going to be like, "Oh, well, why the fuck did that person get it?"
Dude, I'm not trying to call anyone out. I'm just going to give you an example. John Best Start is in chat here. Arguably one of my greatest customers in the history of my business. Over the past decade plus, he's been just this epic person, customer, friend, just epic. He hasn't complained. He might be behind closed doors, behind my back, I don't know. But to me, he's never whined. He's never complained. He's never said, "Oh, John, do this." He's never. Now, then go find someone who maybe has spent $1 with me, or $5, or even nothing. And the list of complaints, it's kind of what you're saying here.
Oh, yeah.
It's never the builders. It's never the builders. It's never the hustlers. It's never the entrepreneurs. It's never the investors. It's the freeloaders. And yeah, I mean, it's just like you said. That's what's going to happen. Guaranteed. Oh, how come I didn't get more? Well, what did you do? What did you do during the slow time?
It's like a lot of these these questions we get, John. It's like we get questions about, well, what do you think of what's going on with the downvote war and this and that? And you and I are like sitting here looking at each other like, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah. Because we're not even aware of it. Why? Because we're too fucking busy.
I don't know.
People who are busy don't have time to pay attention to the bullshit. And there is a lot of bullshit. But it's like, oh, I'm going to get pissed off and leave over a mouse turd. Well, if you're going to do that, then, you're foolish.
Is there another downvote war? Is that the rumor?
I'm just saying,
because I wouldn't know if there is one.
Well, no, you and I never do know. It's I just get downvoted all the time, so it doesn't fucking matter.
That's a topic all in itself right there.
And so, but it's like, well, what about these little skirmishes that are going on? And it's like we had that one time. What do you think about the top witness? I'm like, I don't even know fucking half of them. I don't even know who they are. Not that who they are in terms of a person. It's like, well, what do you think what this person? I have no idea what the hell they're doing. I don't care.
Right.
I don't pay attention. I can't tell you what Asidio's doing. I
Right.
don't know. I can't tell you what Archange is doing. I don't know. I really don't know what Block Trades is doing other than what Block Trades, when he posts his updates on, or I see him on the developer call.
Mm.
I don't have time to sit there and pay attention to all these people and what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's that's the difference. People are busy, don't have time to bitch about this stuff. They don't have time to find stuff to bitch about because they're too busy. And you know what? Another thing I'll tell you about Best Start, if I have to surmise, John, and
Mm.
maybe I'm wrong, but Best Start doesn't look at the obstacles. Best Start doesn't look at what's wrong. He sees what's an issue, and then says, "Fuck it, I got to figure out a way around it." Okay, it's not working this way. Okay, so we got to go over here. Oh, this isn't working right. Okay, fuck it, I'll go use this feature. But I'm going to get done what I need to get done. That's also not something that's very common because most people, it's like, well, when the long form content on Leo is working, I lose my article. So write it in something else and then copy and paste. That's what I do. That's what
Yeah.
I've been doing for the last 3 weeks. I post through Leo, but I don't write my articles on Leo because the damn app's been zapping it out.
Mhm.
So I write it in something else, then I get it all done, and I copy paste, put it in there, and hit publish.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the ass, yes, but so that's a way to work around it. It'll get
It's
fixed sooner or later, but it's not fixed now. And
Hey,
maybe
dude,
it is. I don't know. I'm using something else.
I wrote that post that I took pictures and wrote the post yesterday, the adversity post, and that's exactly it, man. It's like part of being an entrepreneur, and this is, I guess, goes back to your point about there's not enough entrepreneurs on the blockchain. Part of being an entrepreneur is dealing with getting punched in the gut, man. I mean, that's part of the job description. God knows I'm being punched in the gut. This is the first time in 20 plus years I've ever worked for anybody in my life. This is being punched in the gut for me.
Well,
I'm in too.
it's also the first time you got a chance of not working for an asshole.
No, that too. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's yeah, like and John Tim's perfect segue into it. He's like, what happened to Django's truck yesterday? It can't be wear and tear already. Oh, you'd be surprised how much wear and tear are on these trucks. It's pretty impressive. Yeah. But yeah, like John just said right there, I always post in Peak D and then opens and posts in other front ends. It seems to be easier. Yeah. So the only thing is if you don't post through Leo takes that 5%.
I think it's 20%.
Is it?
I don't know.
Of the Leo.
Yeah, of the Leo. They
Leo, not the Hive.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I just to let you know, John, I open up and I write my posts in Peak D, but I don't submit it, but it saves it, and then I copy it and throw it into Leo and post in the Leo UI. But either way, and again, this is a measure. It's only something that started in the last 3 to 4 weeks because before that it was fine, but one of the updates, sent things a little wonky, and it's alpha, so I accept it. I don't piss and moan about it. I figure out a way around it and just deal.
Yeah.
And that's what, like you were about to say, entrepreneurs do. Don't give me all the excuses of, well, this is wrong and that's wrong and this is wrong, because any entrepreneur will tell you in any business there's always something wrong. When you walk in and you're the head of a company, it doesn't matter what the size of it is. Your day it's just a question of what's gonna be set on fire today. What am I gonna have to, what fires am I gonna have to put out? Because that's what happens. Trucks break down, salespeople, sell stuff below cost, the stuff doesn't get delivered to where it's supposed to, supplies don't show up, you name it, there's problems. But that's life. I mean, that's just what you do. So you just pick up and persevere. And if you let every little issue stop you, I mean, you're going to have problems. And I think that's what we have in blockchain.
Mm, very good point. John Timms follows it up. Why did the euphoria over the Ripple ruling fade so quickly? Ripple is holding well, but the rest of the crypto market pretty much gave back the gains from the news. Dude, first of all, I still don't know what Ripple does. I mean, it's the standard. Like this, XRP is the standard. Like that was the tagline a couple years ago. What's it gonna do that a layer 2 on Ethereum can't do? Explain it to me. I don't know what Ripple
Well,
does.
Ripple's designed to be cross-border payments. It's designed to tie into banking. I mean,
Yeah.
it's that's where I did put up a thread. I said, how long after the ruling until we go back to hating Ripple? Remember Ripple? People would say Ripple isn't cryptocurrency, and it's really not because it's not on a blockchain. But since the SEC went after Ripple, everybody started to size it up. I mean, markets are going to be markets. I mean, it's
Man.
we're certainly not in a major bull FOMO yet. So, who knows? Gensler may have farted the wrong way and just upset people. Who knows?
Yeah, John put in there. Some people just have the need to complain. They're only happy when they are unhappy.
That's true too. That
There's a
that
lot of miserable SOBs out there, man.
and especially on social media because it's so
Oh,
easy to be that way.
just
You
negative Nancy's everywhere. Just
Yep.
keep that away from me. John Timms again. I've heard the Leo Finance might be getting its own image server. What does that mean exactly? He's not a programmer.
When you load an image and you look at it, like if you drop the image into Peak D or if you drop it into the Leo Finance when you're publishing a post and it loads up the image, you'll see images and it says I think at high blog or something to that effect. What it's doing is it's loading the images onto a server that Block Trades runs, an image server. The blockchain can only host text. It can't host images. So anytime you upload a picture, that's being loaded onto a server somewhere, and that server is run by Block Trades, or paid for by Block Trades. If you go back to some of your old posts before the fork, you'll go to some old images, old posts, and if you look at them in Peak D, the text will be there, but the images won't be because the images before them were run by Steemit. Steemit had the image server in the Steam days. I don't know what Justin Sun has done, but so what Leo's going to do is they're going to run their own image server. So that means that if you upload images through Leo Finance UI, it's going to go to Leo Finance's image server and not Hotblog's image.
Right. So it helps the experience for users.
It won't be much. It shouldn't be any different, any better, or any worse because it's just where it's being hosted. But it just gives Leo control over the images that are loaded through Leo instead of Hotblog having that control.
Forex Broker brought up some really good points. I'll touch on that in a bit because I wanted to get through some of the people's questions from last week. But he touches on that with Leo Finance's front end, which I think is really fascinating. So really cool questions coming up here. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Manu Photos is up, friend of the show. My last question was about leveling up the show, but you missed to mention the DNS project. What are your thoughts on this DNS project? Do you know?
I don't know what DNS projects in particular he's talking about. I mean, DNS servers. I don't know what Manu's talking about.
Not sure. Manu, send another question next episode and let us know what the DNS project is. So I'm sure.
I mean, I don't know if he's talking. I don't know what he's referring to specifically.
Yeah,
Who's DNS? I mean, that's part of the infrastructure, but whose
right,
DNS server is he talking about? I don't
right.
know.
He follows it up. What do you guys think about inviting crypto projects to the podcast from outside of Hive? In a way, you can show them the possibilities of Hive. I mean, getting
We can't invite people inside Hive right now. I mean, we're lucky if we can get on air. So
yeah,
right now, guests are a little questionable for crypto maniacs going for the next.
I I I
Now,
did I did get introduced to someone who is spearheading a project on Hive, and so hopefully I can set that up
I mean,
coming soon.
we don't have a problem with it. It's
Right.
just, Manny. And again, I mean, Leo Finance has done this. Cal, they've done partnerships. They've done these things. And again, if you're looking for other projects to get you to have your activity, it's probably going to be a failure. You have to have the activity which makes other people want to be a part of you. And if you're just looking, and that seems to be the tendency with Hive, we want to bring these other people so they can do for us what we're not willing to do for ourselves effectively.
Right.
And that to me is the crux of the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Tokenized society. Hello, maniacs. How does Leo inflation work? Is it regressive like Hives? Is it a fixed rate? Is it something else?
It is disinflationary. I don't know what the numbers are exactly, and they are able to move it a little more because it's not a blockchain. It's not a layer one, as we know with the elimination of inflation to pay the delegators of high power. That no
Right.
longer is coming out of inflation. That's coming from the buyback program. So that's where the inflation dropped from like 25,000 per day to 5,000 a day or something. Uh, it's been years since I've seen the schedule, so I don't even know where we're at now or what it looks like. But those are designed to be disinflationary over time, just like Hive. And I don't know what level we're at and what level we started at and stuff like that.
Mhm. Well, whatever it is, CTP is the exact same because I literally took the cheat sheet from Cal and CTP is set up exactly. So whatever Leo is, CTP is. Useless information for you guys tonight. Tokenize again. What kind of real world assets do you think will have the most potential for tokenization? Real estate.
Art,
Real estate.
real
All
estate, businesses. I mean, the potentiality for tokenization, everything's going to be tokenized.
right.
It's, I think it's pretty much our mind's going to be blown. There's stuff that we can't even think about today that, you know, 10 years from now will be tokenized. But I think, most anything. I mean, real estate is the easiest to pinpoint because it's a huge market. It's not
Right.
liquid. So it really could be stuff like that. Art is certainly others. But I mean, your automobiles, I mean, a Tesla robo taxi could be tokenized.
Mhm.
I mean, there's so much potentiality.
I stopped the stream of the threadcast just because I kept refreshing, but it wouldn't load. So there must have been a cache issue going on. But I do have the questions here on Peak D, so I'll just read them out for you guys. Best Start asked, I realize I should know this, but what exactly is a threadcast, and how is it different from a regular thread? So what we do is a threadcast is basically like an open Q&A that someone's doing a broadcast or a live stream like we're doing right now, and we're just interacting. We're asking people are asking questions. It might be, a threadcast of something going on in sports. Someone's watching a game. Me and Task are watching the Giants versus the Bills, and we just want to talk back and forth about it. I mean, it's really just like I think it's, well, for us personally, it's an open Q&A for this show, but threadcast can just be literally a an entire conversation underneath one main thread, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, you could have it for like an award show where people could be watching the Grammys, and here's the threadcast for the Grammys tonight, and you have 6 or 7 people watching the Grammys, and coming up for best song or whatever, and it's like I think so and so should win, and John says so and so should win, and I mean, you could just that one won, that sucks, and who and what, I mean, basically a threadcast is a thread that's designed to accompany some type of event, sporting event, award show, podcast. You know, Leo Finance does them, CTT does them, Cryptoholics do it, we do it. And, where you submit your questions is the Threadcast. And anybody listening live can go in the Threadcast and, say, Tess is saying something stupid again, or John's wearing a shitty hat or whatever. And, people can comment on that and say, well, why are you surprised that Tess is saying something stupid? And, I mean, it's just a place for conversations to take place among the audience. And as John said, we also use it as a way for two-way engagement. And if people were commenting, just like people were doing, in Vim or people do on Restream, if you do it in Threadcast, if it refreshes, John will see it and can comment, and we can bring it on air and talk about it. It's a way to get two-way engagement going.
Yeah, and Jay Fang just brought up. He said, "Did the Threadcast even update?" And I guess there might be some feedback. It looks like nothing posted, even though people posted to it. But after 5 days, it just seemed to
the fact that it's a pot that goes that's old. Yeah, it may not be updating. So yeah, he has a valid point there. We should have. I didn't think of that. We should have written a Threadcast for.
That's okay. No, it worked
for today. But
it worked out, man. It worked out. Forex broker. He's got a couple things here I wanted to mention with Leo Finance, but he said he hopes this isn't costing me a fortune in data. It is, but I don't care. It's worth it, damn it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And when I can get to a little bit of good reception and I can stop on the side of the road, I will always pay the data. I do not care. It is worth it. So it's because I love you guys. But here's what I wanted to bring up. This is he mentioned this when we were talking about Leo Finance, and this is really interesting points that he brings up. If you don't post through Leo Finance, then the canonical is set to another domain. So Google will index the other version, and all future traffic goes there. Paying Leo for that content is like macaques. I'm guessing he's saying McDonald's. Paying for someone to work at KFC. It's a very interesting.
And Forex broker knows a lot about that stuff, and he brings up a great point. If you want to support Leo with the rankings, and we have a lot of headwind anyway, but we don't want to add to the headwind by trying to post stuff through PeakD or Highblog and giving them all the rights to the content.
Right.
It's you want to post through Leo Finance, and that way, if you write an article about, a bank or about a business or about something, and it does well with certain keywords, you don't want those keywords to be or that article for PeakD to get all the benefit. Right. So he brings up a superb point there.
I love what he said here. And this is, we all like to think we're warm and fuzzy and beautiful and we love each other, but he says it right here. Front ends are not friends. They are competitors. That's a good point. I mean,
yeah,
people bet like Ecency benefits when people use their platform because it looks good on the SEO. It looks good for the DHF. It looks good for, same with PeakD. PeakD, like all of these things get funded by the DHF. So it looks really impressive when they got all the traffic and all the search terms come up. So that's a good point. I mean, and it's not like a sling or look down on any of these. I love PeakD. I think PeakD is absolutely chef's kiss. It's fantastic. It's great. But if I had the choice between posting between Leo Finance and that, I'm obviously going to pick Leo Finance because I want the Leo. And I want Leo to grow, which helps Leo, and you know.
Helps your holding in Leo, yes. And yeah, it's it's cooperative, but it's also competitive. It's at the end of the day, you can build stuff that enhances the entire ecosystem of Hive. But the bottom line is the only way ad revenue is going to be generated is by activity through leofinance.io. That's
Yeah.
the only way. And if people are using the features on eCincy to access what's on Leo Finance, that's all well and good, but Leo Finance isn't benefiting from that. And so people who say, well, I want to do this through eCincy. Well, tough shit. You
Yeah.
know, that's like saying, well, I want to post to Instagram through Twitter. You go tell that to Elon or Zuckerberg that you want to post the other through their apps, and they're going to laugh at you. But it's the same type of concept. The only thing that's different is each of these apps can pull from the base layer. They can
Right.
pull the same data, the account management systems, the base layer, all of that stuff. But Leo is a different entity than eCincy. Doesn't mean that Cal has any animosity towards eCincy and vice versa. Maybe they do. I don't know. There's no need for it, but they don't have to be best buds either,
Right.
because eCincy is trying to build something and do the attracting of their users, and they have a lot of overlap with Leo. Maybe like it too, you could make the case, well, that's a little bit different, caters to a little different audience. But at the same time, through threads, I can take a picture and just post it to a thread, just like, an Instagram type thing. So Forex is absolutely spot on there. At the end of the day, you have to make a decision of where you are putting your future in terms of your efforts and where you want to be and what train you're going to ride. And it goes back to what you said, John, earlier in the year, your decision. If you're going to try to be on 6 different apps, supporting 6 different apps, doing 6 different things,
You're nuts.
it's not going to work. You have to take a side and say, this is the side I'm on. And I got on the Leo bandwagon early on, and I haven't left it. Now I use three speak every day because that's a service that is not available through Leo. It's a service that I support. It's a service that has worked out well for me.
Mhm.
Um, I do use Peak D for certain things. I don't go on eCincy. I don't go on High Blog. You know, I do everything that I can on Leo, and I keep harping on Cal. You need to be able to do everything that's on the high base layer has to be in Leo in
Mhm.
terms of the functionality. I keep saying them. You need to have the ability to swap HBD in Hive through Leo because it's a base layer function. The internal exchange should be accessed through Leo.
Mhm.
These are things that you need because if it's at the base layer, it should be on Leo. Then people don't have an excuse. Then the only reason why people want to use something different is because that app offers something you don't. And
Right.
then you're into the competition. It's like, well, why do they have it and you don't? You better build it.
Well,
You
I
know?
think competition is good. I mean, anything that, Leo starts doing and Peak D improves upon, good. If anything Peak D does and Leo improves upon, good. It's good. So,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, I have no
we're free
problem with
market though, man. I mean, like we call
you know,
ourselves
and
entrepreneurs
see
and
what people don't understand is if you go back to the oh shit, what the Linux systems, the Linux software. Linux has been open source, and you can find a million Linux versions of Linux out there,
yeah.
and they're all in competition for each other because they're all Linux. They all do the same thing at the base code level. It was all open source, but people took the code and started adding to it and adapting. And then you got Mint and you got
Right.
Ubuntu and you got this and that, and you got all these different versions, and they have different features. And developers are drawn to different things, and that's what it comes down to. And at the end of the day, I do like Leo's vision of the everything app. I mean, Elon's beating that into the ground, but I think you have to take that to heart. The
Mm.
future of social media, the future is social media and finance merged. That's what I believe the future is. And I think Elon is marching down that path
He is. Yeah.
in a fast way in the Web 2 world. He's not Web 3. Anybody who says, oh, introduce Elon to Hive, Elon doesn't care about Web 3. Elon doesn't care about decentralization. He's very happy in a centralized, regulated world. He deals with that every day. He doesn't care.
Right.
But he will be the milkshake. Anybody knows about the milkshake theory with the US dollar? I think he's going to be the milkshake theory in Web 2. He's going to start sucking from the other Web 2 platforms, YouTube and Facebook in particular. Web 3 is the same thing. We are social media and finance naturally because we're built on financial platforms. Blockchains are at their base layer financial. It's financial
Mhm.
transactions. So we have this natively. And that's what we need to understand and build upon. And so, I keep, opining whenever I can. This is where we need to focus on is to keep building the social and the financial together. And that's what's going to separate you from everything else. And it is a winner take most world. When you get into social media, you get into technology, it is a winner take most because it's a network effect thing. And that's why you have Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook family. And that's basically dominant. There's your dominant players in social media. And TikTok's a relatively new
Yeah.
entry into that. So you've had over a decade of basically monopolies, if you will, in each of their different segments. Nobody really messed with YouTube.
Mhm.
Nobody messed with Twitter. Twitter was the king of microblogging, and Facebook, whatever the hell you want to call that mess, is the king of that. And now you see TikTok kind of creeping in, but even all these other alternatives to Twitter, what they do? Nothing.
Yeah.
Even Threads on Facebook, it's collapsing. It's a
No one
nothing.
cares.
No
Yeah.
one cares. I read TikTok's is about to introduce the same thing, Threads, a Twitter type thing into there. Okay, fine. And maybe some people will use it, but at the end of the day, it's like it's got to be more. And so, what happens when Threads has shorts, just as an example, then we can do something that we presently cannot do. And I think that would enhance it. I think taking all these features and providing them, that's one thing Cal mentioned through the AMA. The goal is to have a community so somebody can set up the community, which the communities, by the way, are base layer. That's through Hive's community.
Mm.
You set it up just like you do through any app. So that's not run by Leo, that's run by Hive. That's base layer stuff. But Cal's vision is you give all these social media tools to each of these communities. So they have the medium style blogging. They each have their own threads. Ultimately, hopefully, there'll be some type of video integration, at least short videos. You give them that. You give them all these different social media type things. Then you have a reason to go through Leo Finance as opposed to a Peak D.
All right. Yeah, man. It's exciting, dude. I'm pumped up. I'm still buying my Leo every day. So good show, man. I I apologize again for last week, and I'm crossing fingers that Thursday should be good to go. So, um, yeah. Nah.
And by the way, for
Mm.
best start, when you ask about what's a threadcast, there's a Leo glossary page for threadcast, which
Ah.
explains what a
Mm.
threadcast is. Most of what you can ask about Hive or Leo Finance, there's a Leo glossary page for.
Taskmaster, always a pleasure, sir. Hope you have a fantastic couple of days on Threads, and
Hey, are
I'll
you
be
going to be here
around.
Thursday?
I should be. I should be here Thursday, as far as I know. But I'll let you
Yeah,
know.
that'll be a first in the last 2 weeks. I mean, your Thursday appearances are 0 in the last week.
I know. I know. I can't make it 2 in a row. Anyways, you guys have a
And
great
I'll
night.
be sure any issues, always to have a threadcast up for that day. Thank you, Jay Fang, for pointing out that you're right. It probably did not
Perfect.
update. So
There you go. Guys, we'll see you on Thursday, hopefully. Toodles.
yeah.